And speaking of which, we've got even more freaking leaks here, man.
Mhm.
Here is a beautiful version 2. Look at the scale of this. I mean, we've got this little dialog box here. Here's your little dude here. Tiny little dude next to this giant rock formation. It looks
Yep.
like it's set up, though, for traversal, for some double
God,
jumps, triple jumps, and jetpacks here, huh?
well, the issue was, right, so we're updating, like the Sanctum Mesa region that you saw once again in that video 2 weeks ago, had around the obelisk all of those spires, those rock spires, and they were some of the very first assets we created for the game, and they just don't hold up anymore. So
I see.
Arthur is going in, and we're trying to create it. They didn't look too stylized. Basically, what happened is in the first 3 months, from my perspective, art directing the project, we were always just going to like try and do things realistic, but with slightly stylized textures. And as we, as the team grew and we had artists who were more fleshed out at doing stylized work, we just pushed it a little bit more into the stylized realm, and which once again helps us future proof ourselves. And so all of the rocks in Sancta Mesa are being updated at the moment to be a little bit more stylized and look a little bit unique to that region. So Arthur is working on that at the moment. And Arthur was actually another guy who I worked with at Cream Electric Art. So there's a lot of people on this team who I've worked with for many, many years, and just amazing seeing what they're doing.
That's so cool. And here's a great quote I want to put up on the screen from our audience. You either keep your cards or you live long enough to make something much greater. Nice one. Nice Batman reference.
The crazy thing is, and the thing that keeps you going is we don't know how successful this will be, or even if it will be successful. So when you don't know, you've got to make it as good as possible to guarantee. Like, we didn't go to all this work just to have people, not feel the collectability and just for the game to fade into obscurity and just another shitty title that kind of amounted to nothing. So I don't know if people are going to find these characters collectible, and so all we can do is make them as in a way that I would find, or anyone else on the team would find collectible, and hope for the best.
Here's a screenshot from Unreal Engine here. I think we've done it too. And everybody that's tuned into the stream right now would probably agree. So what are we looking at here within Unreal?
More grass tests.
Grass. Got it. That's why she's standing.
Yeah, a bit of grass, But as you can see, there's that variation in there and stuff like that. Crimson Waste will actually, I think we're going to make it. Right now, you're seeing the grass is very green. It doesn't really suit every area. It's just work in progress. Sorry, 1 second.
No problem.
It's just work in progress. So we'll shift the color and the grass assets to be Crimson Waste orientated. They'll be like dry and red. But there's one area inside of Crimson Waste called Soccer's Garden, and that's where the grass will be all lush and green. And instead of that green acid, it's going to be water surrounding it. And the plant, there's actually a giant plant in that region. I'll make sure to get the update in next week. That was inspired by the bugs in Starship Troopers. I don't know if anyone remembers that movie, but
I do. I'm old enough to remember it.
We've thrown in a lot of inspiration from different things that we found cool and exciting. And one of those scenes was where they're like nuking the bugs that are like shooting up those asteroids into the air that are trying to take down the ships. And
those anti-air shots. They were like little plants. They like shot them up in there as like anti-air guns, if you will, from the aliens.
I'll get the update in next week. But basically, like, we've got little areas in the game where it's like you run into a region and you're like, this is a boss fight. Now we don't have that in the game. I'm not like leaking that we're putting in boss fights and stuff like that. But eventually we're going to do that. Like, we've got one area in each region, which is just like the highlight of the region. It's got a giant one-of-one asset in it that we put a lot of work into. It makes sense to add some kind of boss fight. Once we get the mechanics for the plant interaction in, it would make sense. That would be the next logical step up to incorporate stuff like that in the levels.